派的。我觉得治国不等同于选举啊，选举的团队是一回事啊，一旦治理国家的话，应该用开放包容的心胸，而且要全面为国举才啊。如果能够这样的话，一定符合民意。那有一点小失落，我们也应该给他执政党一个机会，还是鼓励继续加油。
那你为什么会提到说想要建议他辞掉党主席的这部分？
我是在我当副总统以后，我就跟陈总统建议，我说我们应该做全民的总统。那上帝很公平，不会因为你当总统一天给你48小时，所以呢，如果要做好治理好国家应该要有所舍我当时就建议他。蔡总统的时候，我也提过同样的建议，所以我没有针对性针对赖总统。但是我相信，如果他现在能够听取这一点，那我更鼓励我们的立法院干脆就政党法再加一条，就是总统不得兼任任何政党的主席。那这样的话一体适用，我相信很快的赖总统的民调就会升上来。
不过我们想问一下，就是说，川普有在其他国家的时候谈到说，他的任内呢，习近平承诺他不会攻打台湾。那你觉得他这个谈话的利基点是为什么会在选在这时间点？
我不是川普，我没办法回答。不过等一下我要发表专题演讲之前，我刚刚也看到 CNN 川普讲的一句话。There's no deal until there's deals。我想这句话是讲的太聪明了，也等于空话，不过也是实话。就是说，任何政治人物讲的话都还需要来体验他是不是能够真实有的就是讲一时的。他刚刚这句话是讲得很对，说要真正的解决俄乌战争不是靠2个人谈判就可以。我昨天也是很担心，不要2个人闭密一谈判，乌克兰的命运都被决定了，我觉得非常不公平。因为1895年的时候在日本春帆楼定下马关条约的时候，没有一个台湾代表参加，在台湾的人也没有人知道就这样一签下一纸条约，整个台湾全部就变成日本人的，这是非常不公平、非常残忍。所以昨天晚上我办的这个和平睦邻之约，来很多国家的代表，那他们也很感动。最后我们也为乌克兰的人民祈祷，希望昨天半夜这个川普跟普丁的会议不要重蹈马关条约，在没有乌克兰代表参加的情况下，不应该做成任何决议。但是还好今天早上应该没有做成任何决议。
我要请教您怎么看最近赖总统关于这个中战的发言，还是避谈关于日本对于整个中国或者是亚洲的侵略这一块？
很抱歉我现在认为全心全意希望台湾走向世界，所以我用我的方式引领台湾跟没有邦交国跟我们的邻居做民间的交流。所以赖总统的一言一语我没有完全注意我只想说勉励就是第一个当家尽量减少事情。国内一定要和谐，要团结。第二个，鼓励所有执政的这个要记住台湾非常的小，在国际上非常的脆弱。如果没有全世界的支持，那我们台湾就相当的危险。其实台湾现在内部的问题，我们什么都有，但是我们缺的就是邦交国，所以外交是非常重要的一部分，需要延揽全国更多的外交人才，哪怕只是从事实质的国民外交，我想帮助就很大。比如说，在上个月我应韩国的邀请，韩国的民间团体在韩战纪念的时候举办了1000人的会议，请我做这个Keynote speech。最重要是整个会场的布置，把我们中华民国跟韩国的国旗从 天花板垂下来，然后呢，在舞台上两国国旗也都排列，同时开幕的时候演奏两国的国歌，还有表演两国的国旗舞。我相信这是如果有机会在台湾让大家知道，你们应该感动了。外交不是靠外交部在做，我们每一个人都可以做外交官。所以就是最近发生的事情，我在韩国可以做到这样的目的你想想看，1992年跟我们断交的国家，我们应该要积极跟韩国人在一起。那我们这2天办的活动，韩国也来了30位的代表。我在努力的方向就是我们左邻右舍都要做好朋友。在今天的论坛，我们也有来自菲律宾总统府刚刚卸任的总统的军事顾问要发表他的 Keynote speech。那我们有日本、有韩国、有美国，还有欧洲的学者专家，我们就是要共同谈。如果欧洲27个国家可以形成欧洲联盟，为什么我们亚洲国家不可以？这就是我在努力的目标。那么可以说，第一岛链所有的国家，我们今天都有代表要共同发言。我希望今天傍晚闭幕的时候，你们可以再回来。我们应该有一个共同声言，我们所有爱好和平跟民主的亚洲国家，应该共同来促成亚洲联盟。欧洲联盟已经有27国了，我们 It's time for Asian。所以我会在演讲的时候引用川普的话，他是说 Make America Great Again。那我会呼吁 Make Asia Great， 阿门，阿拉，阿弥陀佛。也就是我们亚洲国家，我们要觉醒，要反省，我们要团结。所以我们可以以mega同样效法川普我们希望川普 Make America Great， 但是我们亚洲国家团结起来，我们也 Make Asia Great。因为全亚洲的人口占世界总人口的40%，光我们第一岛链4个国家，无论在民主发展、在科技发展方面在地缘政治的重要性，如果能够集合统合变成亚洲联盟的话，我觉得是我们要改写历史的时候。好，谢谢。
还有吗？
谢谢，都很重哦，
游戏
先放旁边好了。
Yes. Okay, good morning, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to join this East Asia Peace Forum. So, in the beginning of the forum, I would like to remind you, please turn off your mobile phone. And then you can turn to the flying mode because we are in a very smooth situation to proceed this forum. And then within maybe 4 to 5 minutes, we are officially beginning the forum. So we just wait 4 minutes. Okay, thank you.
前面那边吧，
就这边放那边。
你要吗？
我拿去放那边好。
我
你要放那里？
对啊，你要吗？
我丢这里。 可能比较好走。
够长吗？
我觉得会掉。
Test.
我觉得我的，我靠，会掉吗？会掉吗？我这样跪着应该不会。
Okay. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. We are going to begin today's forum. In the beginning of the forum, I would like to remind you the emergency situation. For your own safety, we have 3 exits on my right hand and left hand, and also in the middle of the house. So you must remember any kind of the emergency situation. And I'm very glad on behalf of the host organization. As you know, we have 3 host organizations. One is Democratic Pacific Union, and I am now the president of the Democratic Pacific Union. And I also, as a professor emeritus of the Danjiang University, I'm very glad to host today's meeting. And the other important host,呂秀蓮Foundation, and the other Taiwan Society for Peace and Justice. There are three very important host organizations who organize this meeting. And important is our advisor from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, ROC Taiwan, and the other also very friendly and very generous to co-host our meeting. They are 7 to 8 organizations. So on behalf of the host organization, to express our sincerest welcome to join this 5th East Asia Peace Forum in Grand Hotel Taipei. In year 2018, we initiated the first East Asia Peace Forum under our Vice President Alendu in year 2018. And same year, November 2018, we hold this meeting in South Korea, second times. And the third time in Taipei, 2019. And the fourth time, 2024, in Tokyo. And this year, we hold this meeting in Taipei in remember of the World War II. And the main issue is reflection and perspectives. As you know, yesterday, on August 15, is the 80th anniversary of the end of the World War II. And also, it's very important timing for us because earlier morning, in this morning, there's a meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russia President Vladimir Putin in Alaska. And after 3 hours meeting, only 12 minutes press conference, we don't see any kind of the prospect for the future peace in East Europe, especially in Ukraine. So today's meeting, we have a lot of issues to discuss regarding the issue. So today's seminar, we divided into 3 panels and 1 roundtable discussion. And you can see we invited a lot of distinguished guests from Japan, South Korea, from Philippines, from also Taiwan local scholars, and also the other very important foreign representative in Taipei. Maybe later we will identify themselves and welcome them to join this very important international forum in Taipei. And also, we know the first panel, as you see our panelists, we are going to talking about World War II in the Pacific cause and consequence. I think we must know why happened this World War II and what kind of lesson to teach us until now, since we are jumped into a very complex international situation. And then second panel, we are going to talk about the U.S. President and the New World Order. I believe in year 2017, Trump 1.0, and then 2025, Trump 2.0. You can see we are facing unpredictable and changeable U.S. leadership. So we must know how to combine together to engage any kind of the challenge and difficulty with those kinds of international order. And the third panel, we are going to talking about the positive peace in East Asia, what and how. We must invite different foreign scholars, things scholars to tell you about how can we construct the future framework for the East Asia country to combine together. Maybe our later the keynote speech from our Vice President Alendu and our distinguished guest from Philippines, Admiral Cortez, they are going to tell us. And then finally, but not the least, we are going to have a roundtable discussion how to promote the democratic East Asia Union. We must not just talk, we must do. So this is a very important combination. for us to know. So let's begin our open ceremony, and I would like to introduce you two very important keynote speakers. First of all, one is our forever Vice President of the Republic of China, Taiwan, Alendu. She was the 10th and 11th Vice President of the Republic of China, Taiwan, and all of her lives advocate for the Taiwan's females movement, human rights, and Taiwan's foreign policy, and so on and so forth. Alendu is this year is over 80 years old, but he's still working. So let's give Alendu one more applause to let him deliver a speech. Please. 欢迎我们的中华民国永远的副总统吕秀莲来发表他的开幕致辞。
Professor Wong, the founder and the president of Democratic Pacific Union. Good morning. Thank you for all your participation, distinguished guest speakers, my dear peace-loving friends coming from Taiwan and from other countries. Yesterday was very important. I think today is even more important because Trump said there are no deals until there are deals. Last night when we were sleeping, in fact, that means we still have chance to act for peace. I have to tell you why we use this room. There's history. As early as 1987, in violation of the martial law, the first native-born Democratic Pacific Party, 民主进步党, was founded right in this room. It certainly is historical. Then, after my retirement from Vice President in the year of 2018, the East Asia Peace Forum was founded here. Every other year, we have the forum held at the same room, that's the Dignity. We also have the forum to be held in Seoul and in Tokyo. Hopefully, next year, this forum will be held by other countries. I personally expect it can be hosted in Manila. Would you agree? Because today we are privileged to have a very outstanding, very special expert who will deliver his wonderful speech after me. Admiral Cortez from the Philippines. And welcome all the other distinguished speakers. From now on, I'm going to talk in my language with the audience while you have earphones. 各位好朋友，今日大家半天来参加这个会议，主要是80年前的昨昏8月15，有历史上最重要的一项代志。1945年8月15早起。日本的天皇宣布战败投降，结束第二次世界大战。日本天皇宣布战败投降，接着我们恭喜我们的邻居韩国正式独立。对台湾人民来讲，还没有机会独立，但是。不要忘掉1945年8月15号那一天，我们的祖先也正式脱离了日本长达50年的殖民统治。很遗憾的，翻开今天的报纸， 你们看看，全台湾有谁关心这一件重要的事情？台湾人民的命运，就像我们周遭韩国、菲律宾同样的命运，一直都没有自主权。韩国也是被日本殖民，菲律宾给西班牙，后来日本、美国也殖民过。我们这一次活动能够邀请到太平洋第一岛链我们的左邻右舍的学者专家，就是要来共同讨论，难道我们亚洲人的命运就不是命运吗？难道我们高喊民主，我们却不能自己决定自己的命运吗？昨天的晚会，我们还有来自不丹的法王带领大家为世界祈祷。我心中特别为乌克兰的人民祈祷，因为我生怕在半夜里面，在阿拉斯加2个民主的独裁者不要透过闭密会议又签下另外一张马关条约，出卖了乌克兰的人民。打了4年战争，乌克兰已经死掉1/4的人口。在决定他们命运的时候，居然他们的总统不能参加谈判。我们台湾人、韩国人过去有惨痛，我们菲律宾，我们都是好邻居。这样的历史错误绝对不容许再存在。我们今天这个论坛也许不是非常的受重视，但是我们还是感谢到一早很多的媒体也都来了，所以我相信今天我们所有的人的意见应该可能会改造历史。2次世界大战在座的各位大概都没有办法回忆因为你们大概都是战后出生的。我刚好是诺曼底登陆战的那一天出生在台湾。那小时候听到我的兄弟姐妹、我的家人谈到如何躲避空袭，所以逐渐的我对战争非常的痛恨。那我自己告诉自己，如果我有能力，我要尽我的力量，在我的有生之年不要经历战争。因此当我退休以后，我就全力投注在如何能够让和平的理念可以扩展。2次世界大战对各位是陌生的，是一个历史的名词。那为了今天的谈话，我当然做了一点功课非常的复杂，我让它简单化，让大家一起来回忆。应该说，就是日本明治维新以后，他们知道西方的势力很强，所以他们发展海权，然后在1910年占领韩国，在更早1895年占领台湾，以韩国跟台湾做2个重要的基地，他们准备要向亚洲发展。所以1931年先在中国东北扶植一个伪满洲国，也就是他们的势力从满洲开始。然后正式的战争是1936年的7月7号卢沟桥事变。在历史上觉得最残忍最重要的就是南京大屠杀，因为南京大屠杀也让中华民国政府不得不迁都到重庆。这一段我们都在历史故事上有听到。这是第一阶段的2次大战，日本先从东北我们现在先来花一点时间了解欧洲。欧洲在1919年之前几年 发生第一次世界大战只有在欧洲地区，但是战争的结果让很多的帝国消灭，而产生新兴的许多小国。可是，在1933年，德国诞生了一位新的总理，叫做希特勒。我相信他的 DNA 跟我们不太一样，但建立德国法西斯，他很不甘心原来的德国帝国被摧毁，所以他整军经武，觉得他一定要把欧洲很多的国家再并吞回来。可是在此之前，苏联有一个斯大林，他的野心就是他的共产主义要赤化全世界。因此在1939年年初，他们两巨头就秘密见了面，签署了一个德苏互不侵犯条约。这是我昨天晚上很担心，在阿拉斯加也会签订美国跟俄国的互不侵犯条约。这个互不侵犯条约的内容后来慢慢的揭发，原来他们是讲好欧洲这么大让你苏联哪些是你的势力范围，我不去碰你，然后另外一些就变成我的德国的势力范围。表面上说好像在要维持和平，接着下去，1939年的9月1号之前，俄已经从他的旁边国家开始侵略波兰，所以1939年的9月1号，当苏联军队正式攻下波兰那一天，就是欧战开始的日子。亚洲的战争是以卢沟桥事变为准，那当然苏联也在这个密约的保护之下，默默的在他旁边的国家捷克各方面不断的侵略。那因为已经跟希特勒讲好，所以希特勒就往西欧去发展。所以事实上欧战其实还是两强之间在密约之下各自发展，结果遭殃的是其他的国家。在1940年这个丘吉尔没有就任英国首相以前，英国自也认为我不是欧陆的一部分，我隔着海峡，所以他们的前总理说不要参战，我们不要惹是生非。但是当丘吉尔就任首相的时候，他知道事态严重了，因为你不能看着一个独裁者、侵略者侵犯别的国家，你袖手旁观，你就可以得到安全跟和平。所以经过强烈的辩论，包括苏贞昌院长曾经讲说，为什么喊说英国人说要跟希特勒战到拿扫把也可以。其实这句话是一个小女生讲的。希特勒丘吉尔突然在地下铁出现，然后随机问这个群众，你们赞成战争还是冷眼看德国势力？那大家都主张战争。一个小妹妹，她手里拿着一个扫把玩具，她也跟着讲说，我要用这一支来打倒希特勒。所以是有故事的因缘的。所以为什么战到最后用这个扫把？那么从英国，尤其丘吉尔能说善道，而且善于运筹帷幄，自然给盟军一种压力。这个之前，意大利的墨索里尼也是一个独裁者，他发展的路向就是往非洲去。他首先征服了伊索比亚，还有周边的几个国家，变成他的殖民地，甚至进攻到 埃及，但是盟军开始集结起来，反对这样的侵略主义的国家，就终于呢把墨索里尼比较上他的势力单薄，就把他势力消灭。所以底下的发展其实就是苏联跟这个德国。那在欧洲的战争在关键点就是美国的介入。美国在1935年，他是宣布保持中立，不过偏向自由的这个同盟国，所以他说我可以让你们来买我美国的战争资源、武器、石油等等。一直到1941年，他看日本的野心不但往中国去全力发展，那逼着中华民国政府都要从南京迁都重庆。那另外一支势力以台湾做跳板，然后并吞香港，接着就往东南亚去发展。美国就开始宣布对日本禁运，让日本在美国的资产解冻，日本开始面临。所以1941年12月8号，突如其来，美国毫无防备之下，日本军阀发起空军突袭珍珠港。大家都知道珍珠港事件。那美国说我不惹你，你既然惹我，所以一念之间决定说非要把日本消灭不可，所以他就宣布加入同盟国，而且主导权就在美国总统罗斯福的手中。那在同盟国主要国家，美国罗斯福、英国丘吉尔，法国因为巴黎也被攻下沦陷，所以法国总统戴高乐还有他非洲的属地也被意大利占领，所以也就结合在一起。那么所谓同盟国，那因为大家知道得罪不了斯大林，所以也把斯大林、苏联邀请加入同盟国。那相对之下，轴心国就变成希特勒、墨索里尼，再加上日本。我们看到的是同盟国跟这个轴心国的战争。那么一个很大的关键点，因为连巴黎都沦陷了，那美国一方面在太平洋就开始反攻，因为你攻击了我夏威夷，所以呢，他出动他的海军、空军，几乎太平洋所有的群岛，北太平洋、中太平洋、南太平洋很多群岛，时间关系我就不念，他就用尽一切，经过残忍的交战，日军都败退，那么把日本一直赶过来。那另外日本呢，也透过这样发展到东南半岛，也算很厉害的角色，甚至于中南半岛当时叫做印度支那，还发展到印尼，一度还攻下澳洲的这个达尔文港，所以可以想象日本当时的势力实在是非常惊人。那美国参战以后，情势开始不一样，美国从夏威夷一路过来，另外跟英国解放英军，还有欧洲当时在东南亚、在中南半岛，其实也都是殖民的，所以当地也有军队回过头来联手，日本开始节节败退。那墨索里尼在1948年的时候势单力薄，被他的反共军刺杀死掉。在这个1945年的关键年4月12日，墨索里尼被暗杀之前，4月12日， 美国的总统罗斯福突然病故，因为他死得很突然，而且他死前跟他的副总统杜鲁门的关系，据我所知道资料并不好，所以杜鲁门作为副总统，他对2次世界大战的情势并不了解，但是他也是一个很英明的人。他上任以后，他觉得当然要早日来对抗日本，在他有限的情报之下，他说要战败日本，那很简单，就是要用原子弹。那我先回过来讲，1944年的6月6号为什么会变成一个史诗性的纪念日？是因为美国跟英国的联军偷偷的计划，在6月6号的清晨，在法国的诺曼底海滩平坦的海滩登陆了。有很多浪漫的故事，很多悲惨的故事。在很短的时间，英美盟军登陆以后，先解救了法国。当时法国、荷兰所有西欧国家全部被德军占领，但是因为英美登陆以后，陆陆续续先把巴黎解放，所以法国当然要立即配合，接着又把德军一直赶出去，所以这个诺曼底登陆就是欧战结束的一个很关键点。那这中间墨索里尼的力量就更少。在诺曼底登陆战的第2年，不但光复的这个法国，而且集中力量横扫德军，所以越逼到柏林去了。4月12号，我刚刚讲，突然美国的总统罗斯福这个最大的指挥官，就突然这个蒙上帝恩宠离开了。那新上任的副总统还没有办法掌握全局，但是4月28号，墨索里尼被暗杀。那4月30号，盟军攻陷德国柏林，而且炸毁他的国会大厦。希特勒知道大势已去，所以一世枭雄的他，2天之后跟他的情妇举枪自杀。这么一场战争，牺牲了7100万人，其中真正上战场的，这个军大概是只有2400万，那其他的7000多万都是无辜的平民。在7100万人里面，因为苏联的人口很多，苏联虽然加入同盟国，以我的观察，他其实利用同盟国来做大他的势力，所以2战结束以后，最大的赢家就是苏联。他用德苏互不侵犯条约来做一个屏障，其实暗中就在扩展他的势力，以至于2战结束不久，很快的，所谓苏维埃联邦共和国就成立了，就半个欧洲都变成苏联的，他是最大的赢家。可是他还挂着是同盟国。那不管如何，在雅尔达密约，就是很像昨天半夜进行的，在阿拉斯加，我希望不是另外一个雅尔达，只有美国、英国跟苏联3个巨头秘密开会，就是说一定要消灭希特勒，那再来先结束欧洲战争，再来对付日本。那一旦德国投降的话，苏联要1半的土地，另外1半就交给你们欧洲西方国家去处理。所以在雅尔达密约就注定了德国要分裂。那不止这样，柏林他们都要求首都也要切1半。那这个模式后来也影响到韩国，也很残忍的被切成南北韩。 还有越南也变成南北约。所以雅尔达密约，我们应该不要容忍在任何时候、任何国家再发生。我再很快的讲这台湾的部分。台湾那个时候因为是日本的殖民地，就像韩国也是日本的殖民地，照说伤害不大，因为是做日本前进的基地，一个往北侵略中国，一个透过台湾往东南亚去发展。但是这样的一个宝地，当然美国参战以后，他也会注意到，所以美国的军方国防部当然积极研究如何结束这场战争，有2个计划。海军认为，先从太平洋其他的这个群岛能够一路把日本打败，渐渐逼近日本的时候，他说先占领台湾，把日本人全部消灭，这样就断绝他往东南亚的补给线。同时，如果盟军大量在台湾的话，还可以协助中国大陆打日军，那也可以就近去消灭日本。这个计划叫 X 岛计划，是委托哥伦比亚大学专门研究出来的，包括训练1000位要讲这个如何统治台湾的时候要讲客家话，要讲原住民的话，是很严肃的一个计划。不过这个计划不是 free lunch， 他们准备美金牺牲12万人，台湾至少会100万人会死亡，才能够把日本赶掉。这是尼米兹海军上将提出的计划，尼米兹后来有个尼米兹航空母舰。但是另外呢，在这个马尼拉驻守马尼拉指挥太平洋西区的司令是麦格阿扎陆军上将，他因为看到日本占领菲律宾的时候俘虏了2-3千个美国人，所以他告诉罗斯福，因为他那时候要竞选连任，他说你要先攻下马尼拉，先占领，然后把美国人通通救出来，这样你的连任就赢定了。那因为菲律宾跟台湾比较接近，如果轰下吕宋岛，就可以跳过台湾去打 Okinawa。这2个主张对任何一个政治人物来讲，是连任重要还是和平重要？结果当然，这个罗斯福总统就决定轰炸菲律宾。等一下我们另外一个精彩的演讲会讲菲律宾的事情，但是我们就是要心存感念，在2次世界大战就是这样的一点差距，让我们台湾相对于其他国家是牺牲最少的，这就是跳过这样。但是我们北边的好朋友 Okinawa 当时只有40几万人口，在1天的轰炸里面死掉20万人，等于人口的1半，全部没有了。但是后面还有一个故事，活下来的20万人没得吃，小小的 Okinawa 变成战场，没有东西可以吃，所以他们的知县就想到台湾有很好的蓬莱米，因此呢就赶快叫人，那只能驾个小船到台湾，因为还是日本统治。我看到的资料，我们当时台湾供应900多吨的蓬莱米，所以在 Okinawa 老一辈都会告诉他们的年轻人，我们要感谢台湾，因为台湾的蓬莱米让我们活下来的人没有饿死。所以这也是证明冥冥之中神佑台湾。我讲后1950年韩战，我昨天晚上讲过，我不再重述。也是因为韩战，毛泽东本来要打台湾的部队全部冻死在韩国，那 台湾的命运，我们能够掌握多少？当时我们多么无辜，变成日本的殖民地，可是冥冥之中，有神在保护我们，有上帝在保护我们。2次大战，我们感谢，也对不起菲律宾跟 Okinawa， 因为改变策略救了台湾。那时候盛传着，不管是妈祖或者观音，都在天上出现，保佑台湾人民。所以台湾很多心对宗教还是有一定的崇拜。我们今天大家可以安安心心的，好像战争离我们很远，我们多么感谢这80年，至少大家还可以活着。但是全世界讲到台湾都说你们不怕吗？我们认为下一个战争就在这里呀。川普跟普丁一谈完的话，马上就要来打台湾了，不是吗？那我希望我们大家都要共同的体认，地球只有一个，我们说地球的过客。韩国的朋友在主张 We are one， 真的，我们说是地球上的过客，也只有一个地球。有本事到火星的，那是不晓得几千年以后是，大概也只有马斯克那个超级富豪才有办法去。我们还是守住地球吧。那很高兴，我们这2天的活动刚好太平洋第一岛链这2、3年来几乎都被认为是海上的战场。事实上，各种的努力让我们今天还勉强维持表象和平。下一位演讲者会以他一辈子从事海军的经验告诉我们他对海洋的看法。那我认为我们如果可以仿效欧洲，欧洲在经过2次世界大战死掉那么多人以后呢，他们反省。有一位出生在小小的卢森堡，后来当上法国外长的，叫做舒曼先生。他在外长任内，1951年他主张美国各州都变成 United States of America， 我们欧洲各国也应该成立的 United States of Europe。只有欧洲一体化，我们变成一家人，才有力量，才能够享受真正的和平。他后来被封为欧洲现代欧洲之父，而且教宗方济各还特别为他封圣。那重要的是，他的主张立即获得本来法国跟德国在2战是敌对势力，连巴黎都被攻下。法德2国的新的领导人觉得历史不可以遗忘，但是不要再继续历史的仇恨。所以法德2国支持之下，很快的周边的卢森堡、比利时、荷兰6个国家宣布成立湄港共同体。在湄港共同体先8个重要的国家一起发展经济，渐渐的大家觉得这个效应很不错，所以接着又变成欧洲经济共同体，到现在就变成欧洲联盟 European Union。 所以想想欧洲历尽2次大战，在付出很多的代价，最后你看看，不管是希特勒也好，墨索里尼也好，就是罗斯福也好，在战争没有结束以前，他们还是离开人间。我常常讲，天下没有一件事公平，唯一公平的是没有一个人不会死亡，所以大家坦然面对死亡。但是你没有权利，就像我们也很难决定什么时候、什么方式会死掉，我们更没有权利决定别人什么时候该死掉。即使你权力再大，财富再出，你有什么权利来决定什么时候什么人要为你而死？如果我们基于这一点，每一个人来到人间是上帝的意思，离开也是这样的想法， 当我们在地球的时候 ，We are one, we are the family。地球已经面临很大的危机，整个地球的灾难也不只是 CO2 的问题。我所研究的是地心，再加上太阳磁暴，整个黄河体系的交互感染之下，现在地球是病得非常的严重。我们能不能挽救都是个问题的时候，怎么可以容许战争来加速毁灭？而且历史告诉我们，战争只有惩教几个狂人，但是牺牲的太多了。7100亿人，他们是怎么死的？战争死的是2400万人，还有多少人是被种族灭绝？多少人是在集中营、在难民营、在毒气室死掉的？多少的女性是在死亡之前遭受性的侵害？慰安妇不应该只是日本才有的啦，只是这个名词。我也碰见我们韩国的朋友，因为我们台湾也有慰安妇，我当年是第一个带台湾的慰安妇到日本的国会去举办公听会的人。但是历史已经是过去了，我们要了解历史，在历史当中要找出应该检讨，我们不要再制造历史仇恨，而是在历史错误当中避免，然后我们来想新的方法。我刚刚举的舒曼是一个例子，美国总统一直都在喊 "Make America Great Again"， 那就表示现在的美国不够 great。我们当然希望每一个国家都很 great， 可是人类历史我的观察，有大国，一个是 big and bad country， 很多大的国家是混蛋的国家。我们要的是 great and good， 所以不要双 B， 我们要双 G。不管国家多大，但是它是一个善国，跟所有的邻居都和好。所以基于这样种种的信念，我这几年没事找事做。我觉得我们不应该再提倡杀戮，因为那是你死我活。我们也不要太唯利是图，我总是要占人家的便宜。我们为什么不以都是地球的过客，眼睛一闭什么也带不走？我们大家要共同分享，互利共赢。所以我认为大家可以体会，我现在在提倡 win-win-win。我们都赢的意思就是没有人是输家。你赢别人输，当然不服气啊。如果你退一步分享、容忍，每一个人都是赢家的话，我们先有和谐，自然就有和平。如果现在很多的独裁者虽然是人民选出来，权力到手，忽然是美国人民选他做美国总统，突然变成世界的皇帝的话，他知道哪一个国家有什么宝，他就要想办法要拿的话，怎么会有世界和平？那么他有权利讲 "Make America Great Again"， 我很大胆的，我是希望大家可不可以响应？我们也是谢谢川普，我想要喊出是 "Make Asia Great"， 阿门，阿拉，阿弥陀佛。现在世界人口有82亿。亚洲就占了40%，无论从人文发展、从科技、从历史、从经济角度，有哪一点亚洲人输别人？所以，如果我们亚洲能够用 soft power 加上 smart power， 那我们以win-win-win大家互相体谅、包容、分享，然后结合起来。当然呀，亚洲国家很多，但是我很荣幸，我们这2天第一岛链所有的国家都有代表来。如果有这样的共同理念，我们能够进一步发展。欧洲可以达到27个国家，因为这样80年来都是和谐。欧洲可以 我们亚洲为什么不可以？所以最后，我呼吁大家，如果同意，跟我一起喊一下 ：Make Asia Great， 阿门，阿拉，阿弥陀佛。Make Asia Great， 阿门，阿拉，阿弥陀佛。Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for our Vice President's insightful speech regarding how can we invest peace and to avoid warfare. The most important issue is, Alendu mentioned, we must make Asia great, Allah, Amen, and Amito again. It means all the nations around the First Island chain must cooperate together to rethinking about the future destiny or dependence of our country. So maybe we can follow the example from European Union to establish such kind of the integration union in the future. So thank you again for our forever Vice President Alendu's speech. And next, distinguished guest from Philippines. I must emphasize, he's the Navy Admiral. He is the Admiral Cortez. He was the, I believe, former Philippines presidential military advisor. So we are very pleased to introduce General Cortez to have this speech. So the floor is yours, Mr.
Thank you so much. While I was listening to this speech of our former Vice President, I was mesmerized. Her memory, starting from the First World War up to the present, is astonishing. Thank you so much, ma'am, for that historical perspective that you delivered us. Good morning. Honorable former Vice President呂秀蓮, distinguished guests, fellow speakers, and peace-loving friends from Japan, Korea, the Philippines, and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a profound honor to stand before you as a retired Admiral of the Philippine Navy, delivering the keynote address of this 5th East Asia Peace Forum. As we commemorate the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II, I bring reflections shaped by a lifetime of service of the seas. Waters that have both divided and united us. My message today is one of hope, that through reflection on our military past, a shared vision for our oceans, and a commitment to economic collaboration, East Asia can rise as a unified region of peace and prosperity. 80 years ago, and I presume that most of us in this forum did not experience the cruelty of war. World War II drew to a close, leaving scars across East Asia that still echo in our collective memory. For the Philippines, the war was crucible, a test of survival and endurance. The Japanese occupation from 1942 to 1945 brought unimaginable hardship. Bataan fell, Corregidor surrendered. and over 1 million Filipinos endured sufferings. Yet, from the deaths of Leyte Gulf in 1944, where one of history's greatest naval battles occurred, emerged a flicker of hope. Filipino guerrillas, alongside Allied forces, fought to reclaim our freedom. As a naval officer, I often reflect on how those waters, our shared Pacific, were both a battleground and a lifeline. Japan, they too faced its reckoning. The Meiji era's military modernization led to imperial expansion, culminating on the attack on Pearl Harbor and the occupation of vast territories. The atomic bombs of 1945 forced a surrender that transformed Japan into a nation of peace. Korea, annexed by Japan in 1910, endured colonial rule until liberation, only to face the Korean War's division in 1950. Taiwan, a stronghold since 1949, has navigated its own military tensions. These histories, while happening in our respective shores, affect us as a whole. They're not just ours to mourn, but to learn from. Lest we forget. Again, let me refresh our memory. The social consequences of war are vast. War results in significant loss of life for both soldiers and civilians. It leads to displacement, forced migration, and refugee crisis that cause social and economic disruption. War causes long-term psychological trauma, affecting individuals, families, and communities. History has shown it to lead to social unrest, instability, and even regime changes. The economic consequences of war are far-reaching. War damages or destroys critical infrastructure, including roads, bridges, and buildings. Conflict disrupts trade, investment, and economic activity, often leading to instability. A nation's natural resources are affected, either through direct destruction or exploitation. Since post-conflict, rebuilding efforts can deplete national budgets. Wars are often followed by periods of financial difficulties for governments, industries, and citizens alike. Politically, war can lead to regime change, either through external intervention or internal upheaval. It strains or severe diplomatic relations between countries, affecting global politics and cooperations. War can compromise national security, creating power vacuums and opportunities for extremist groups. It can challenge global governance, structures including international law and established institutions. Religion is not exempt to the effects of war. Conflict can exacerbate sectarian tensions and create opportunities for religious extremist groups to exploit and promote their agendas. It has often resulted in the destruction of cultural heritage, including religious buildings and artifacts. Conflict often disrupts interfaith dialogues and leads to increased religious tensions. Over the past 80 years, since the end of the Second World War, nations have strived to move beyond the divisions of the past. History offers us lessons. Yet, recent decades have seen decisions that take us steps back instead of forward. Political narratives, instead of mutual respect, have redrawn our boundaries. The West Philippine Sea, a lifeline to global trade and a sanctuary to rich marine biodiversity, has now become a flashpoint. Mistakes rooted in division instead of dialogue. The ocean, ladies and gentlemen, is the thread that binds us. It has borne witness to our conflicts, yet today it calls us towards unity. During my service in the Philippine Navy, I patrolled waters abundant with fish, abundant with oil and gas. These are the resources that sustains millions of lives. Years later, as a retired naval officer, during the pandemic, I saw from another vantage point just how vital these waters are. Maritime supply chains became lifelines, ensuring that goods flowed, trade continued, and nations supported one another in times of crisis. And so, we arrive at central truth. The ocean must be a force that unites, not divides. Trade, responsible resource use, and equitable sharing should be our shared priorities. The ocean is not a line to be contested, but a bridge upon which we can build cooperation and trust. We, the Philippines, Taiwan, Japan, and Korea, and other nations, are in positions that leverage our individual strength to drive regional development and prosperity. Our growing industries need the oceans and strengthen collaborations. The Philippines is made up of 7,641 islands, blessed with rich natural resources. For us, the sea is our lifeline, carrying over 90% of the goods we import and export. Our manufacturing, agriculture, and tourism all rely on open and thriving seas. Japan, a global economic powerhouse, depends on secure sea lanes to sustain its advanced technology, manufacturing, and shipbuilding industries. South Korea's thriving automotive and high-end sectors are powered by regional cooperation and stable maritime routes. Meanwhile, Taiwan's strategic location makes it a vital hub in global supply chain, driven by its world-leading semiconductor industry, electronics manufacturing, and IT sector. Together, our nation's prosperity is bound onto the same waters that connect us, waters that sustains us, and waters that empower us all. Imagine if we harness these strengths together, the strategic benefits would create a diversified economy, reducing dependence on a single industry or market. Collaboration would foster competition, driving innovations and helping improve the quality of our products. The potential is immense. Joint investment in infrastructure projects such as high-speed networks, ports, and airports would improve regional connectivity. Collaboration in technical industries such as AI, robotics, and renewable energy would drive innovations and growth. Sharing expertise in agriculture, including sustainable practices and crop management, would improve food security and agricultural productivity. Joint tourism initiatives would promote cultural exchange, showcasing the unique attractions and experience of each country. By working together, we could create a prosperous and stable region, driving economic growth and improving the lives of our citizens. There are, of course, challenges that come with these opportunities. Addressing economic disparities between countries will require not only cooperation, but also deliberate resource sharing to ensure that no nation is left behind. Regional security concerns will demand open dialogue, effective communications, and sustained cooperation. Because without trust, even the most promising economic partnership can falter. History offers us powerful examples. After World War II, the Marshall Plan rebuilt Europe through economic collaboration, preventing further conflict and enabling nations to recover. In East Asia, the post-war economic miracle of Japan, the rise of the Asian tigers such as South Korea and the Philippines, on-growing maritime economy show how prosperity can transform former rivals into partners. The lesson is clear. When nations prosper together, the incentives to dispute boundaries fades or lessen. Prosperity becomes the common objective, replacing rivalry with partnership. Our region's long-term stability depends on our ability to address economic inequalities, navigate political tensions, and turn potential rivalries into shared progress. The East Asia Peace Forum, founded in 2018 in Taipei, embodies this vision. Its goal to integrate Japan, Korea, and Taiwan into the Democratic Asia Union is not just aspirational, and I think it's achievable. During my naval career, I witnessed how joint exercises with Japan, United States, and Asian navies built trust. The 2016 arbitral ruling on the West Philippine Sea, which affirmed the Philippines' rights, was a diplomatic victory. But its true power lies in the potential for the regional cooperation it opens. It was channeled, if we channel our military past into economic and maritime alliances, we can turn our seas into zones of peace. Yet, unity requires respect. Respect for each nation's space and sovereignty. The Philippines has learned this through its struggles, from Spanish colonization to American bases to modern territorial challenges. Japan's post-war pacifism and Korea's reunification efforts reflect similar lessons. Taiwan's resilience offers a model for standing firm while seeking dialogue. Our collective duty is to remember the past, the nightmare of war, and plan for a better future. The ocean, scarred by battles like Leyte Gulf, now offers us a chance to heal through collaboration. Let me share a personal reflection. As a young officer, I sailed through the waters where my father fought as a guerrilla. He spoke of the hunger, the fear, but also the hope that liberation would bring peace. Today, as I look at our region, I see that hope alive. The Philippine Navy now focuses on maritime security, humanitarian missions, and disaster response, roles that serve not just our nation, but our neighbors. The shift mirrors what East Asia can achieve, a region where navies protect, not attack. To realize this, we must act decisively. We must prioritize the doables. First, establish a regional maritime economic council to coordinate trade and resource sharing. Second, invest in sustainable fisheries and energy projects, ensuring all nations benefits. Third, strengthen educational exchanges to build a generation that sees the ocean as a shared heritage, not a contested frontier. These steps can easily transform our economic potential into a force for unity. In conclusion, the 80th anniversary of World War II ends is a moment to reflect on our military history and reimagine our future. The ocean connects us. Trade and resources can unite us, and thriving economies can solve our problem. As a retired admiral, I have seen the cost of war and the promise of peace. Let the Democratic Asia Union be our legacy. A union not of conflict, but of cooperation, respect, and shared prosperity. Thank you all, and may our seas guide us to a brighter tomorrow.
Okay, thank you very much for your wonderful speech from Philippines, Admiral Cortez. So, based on his speech, we know the importance of the Taiwan and Philippines because we share the same value and we are the same ocean nations. So important is the how to keep this so-called maritime supply chain and the ceiling of the communications safety is utmost important issue. So thank you very much for Admiral Cortez's speech. So now we are going to have a group photo, and you just sit where you are, and maybe our cameraman just come here, and we have a group photo 团体合照啊，请大家就坐在原地不要动来吧，团体合照，赶快，请，由你们来指挥please just review your smile and good face whatever gesture you want to let, there is no problem. So sum up or the whatever, okay. Let's take 3 pictures, okay. 1, sum up.
we wish this forum could successfully proceeding. Okay. And the second, maybe Alendu, Vice President, will say something. Sum up. Win. Okay. So first, win. Oh, okay. First, win. Asia. And second, great again. Amen. Okay. Okay. So thank you very much for this session for the group photo. Oh, okay. Not enough. Please energetic. Please show up your passion and let us Asia. Okay. Win, Asia. Okay, Asia, win. Asia, great. Amen. Okay. Make Asia great. Amen. Allah. Okay. Okay. Make Asia great. Amen. Amidobo. Allah. Okay, let's all stand up and say again. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Make Asia great. Amen. Allah. Amidobo. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, please be seated because the time is limited. I'm not going to break the time schedule. So we are going to jump into the first panel. And I would like to invite our most important moderator, Professor Deng. He is the professor of the Zhengzhi University, and he is the expert of the Latin American studies. So let's welcome Professor Deng and all the panelists. Maybe panelists from this panel 1. The World War II in the Pacific Cause and Consequence. So the panelists, please come to the floor. Please, Professor Zhang, Professor Nakato, and Professor Gao Pei-san, and you are the first. Okay. So, Gao Pei-san 老师，Gao. So, Professor Deng, the floor is yours. Please conduct everything. Okay.
Vice President呂秀蓮, honorary guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Deng Zhongjian, Department of Diplomacy, National Chinese University. It's really my honor and pleasure to chair this session. I should express my appreciation for the invitation from Vice President Liu and the 5th East Asia Peace Forum. In the following, I'd like to speak in Mandarin. The reason is that it is for the first time I'd like to talk about the consequence of the war. 我的先父从1947年的4月到1948年的9月，服务在辽宁省的葫芦岛、秦皇岛的秦湖港口司令部。这个司令部的一个很大作用，在当时是负责遣返 日本人还有这个日本的战俘。这个是从1947年的5月，一直到1947年的12月，一共遣返了超过110万的日本人，还有这个战俘。但是他也知道，有更多的战俘被苏联军队带到了这个东北，生死未卜。可是你也可以看到说，一个战争的结果，不只是对受侵略的国家带来伤害，同时也对这个发起战争的国家带来了多么大的伤害啊！100多万人，其实还有很多人是滞留在中国啊。这是我的第一个故事。第二个故事是我的在政治大学外交研究所硕士论文的指导教授，这师母啊，他就是当年因为战争结束，他的父亲是关东军，当然就被这个到了东北，母亲不见了，他跟他的2个弟弟流离失所。有一天他在街上碰到了他的户籍上的哥哥，他的哥哥是在立法院工作，就把他带回家。那时候他才在可能11、12岁，然后又跟着哥哥到了台湾来，后来嫁给我的。可是过了50年，就是说之后50年，他跟他的2个弟弟在日本相会了，因为一个弟弟是在中国东北被这个本地的农家这个收养，一个回到了日本。这是我想讲2个故事，就是说明了，就是说这个可怕战争的可怕所带来的伤害，他们还是幸运的姐弟，最后还见面啊。那我讲这些，也就是说明了，就是说当前我们谈论到这战争与和平，我非常钦佩吕秀莲副总统，他追求和平，追求说未来亚洲应该是亚洲人的亚洲，这个心胸，这个胸怀是值得我们尊敬的，也去追求的。今天我们这个场这个 panel 应该有4位论文发表人。第一位论文发表人是这个 Sachio Nakato， 我的老朋友，就是多年的老朋友。他的题目是 Causes and Consequences of World War II in the Pacific, a Japanese View。现在是请这个 Sachio 来发表，谢谢。
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Sachio Nakato, professor at College of International Relations, Ritsumeikan University, located in Kyoto, Japan. I'd like to express the highest gratitude to Vice President Alendu for your wonderful leadership to organize this wonderful forum. And also I'd like to thank Director Sharon Su and Dr. Hong or others to help and organize this wonderful session as well. I'd like to, Professor Tan, I actually met him 3-4 times in many occasions, and he actually made me a big fan of. He gave me a wonderful collection of stamps of Teresa Teng, and after that, I am very much fan of Teresa Teng. I studied a lot about Teresa Teng after he gave me stamps. Anyway, I'm very glad to be here with Professor Teng. I'd like to discuss about causes and consequences of World War II from a Japanese perspective, or Japanese view, I think. So this topic is very, very huge, and I'm pretty sure that any Japanese scholars sitting here to discuss about this is not very comfortable, including myself. And I am not a historian. I'm an international relations scholar, and there are many discussions in Japan, Japanese academia practitioners why Japan engaged in this kind of sometimes wrong war. And there are many explanations. There are many nuanced explanations from the left to the right. And I don't think I can explain everything, but instead, since I'm an international relations scholar, I'd like to give some international relation theoretical explanation why Japan engaged in war with first China and also later with the United States. And before that, Japan colonized the Korean Peninsula as well as Taiwan as a vice president. And Lu beautifully explained the process how Japan engaged all this colonization and starting war. Yesterday, August 15, South Korean President Lee Jae-myung, in the National Liberation Day, he mentioned that Japan has to face history. Although he spent many time to explain or emphasize on the importance of future-related relations between Japan and South Korea, but this issue is very important for at least Korean people and as well as Japanese, probably different meaning. And Foreign Minister Wang Yi in China, he also mentioned that Japan has to face history. And Prime Minister Ishiba, he expressed remorse on World War II surrender anniversary of 88 years. He used the term remorse. I'm not really sure how this translation is correct in English, but in Japanese, hansei. At the same time, he also mentioned that we will never repeat the tragedy of the war. So which means that many Japanese people, including Prime Minister, they think that there were some mistakes in the process of World War II. This is a common understanding. But the question is, why there are many oppositions not to engage in war with China and the United States, but Japan actually did. Why? This is the question. And I'd like to give you 3 theoretical explanations on this process and causes. The first one is called realist perspective international relations theory. Realist focusing on the idea of national interest and assume that states behave based on their rational calculations. So from realist perspective, you could argue that Japan facing resource scarcity and limited colonies compared to Western powers consider military expansion as a rational strategy to secure its position. So when you talk about national interest, usually if you follow the international relations textbook, in many cases, 3 components. The first, you could say ideology, idea, or identity. Second, economic prosperity or development. Or third, survival. Among 3 factors of national interest, which were the most important things? We say survival is the most important national interest. Sometimes we call it the core interest. Therefore, Manchurian incident occurred in 1931, and second Sino-Japan War occurred in 1937, can be interpreted as Japan's attempt to become the dominant power in East Asia. And second explanation, this is pretty much influenced by the idea of Marxism, imperialism. I think Professor Carl is going to explain this from a much more comprehensive perspectives. According to Lenin, a conflict among imperialist powers are inevitable as they compete for global dominance. So not only Japan as imperialist power, other Western power, they are also considered imperialist. So the conflict between or among imperialist power they are inevitable according to Lenin or Marxist perspective. Therefore, Japan's war against the United States and Britain, which started in 1941 to 1945, can be understood as inter-imperialist war, waged to secure strategic and economic interests in Asia-Pacific region. So it can be considered as imperialist perspective. The last one, a similar understanding but different, called constructivism. The idea of constructivism emphasizes on the importance of idea, norms, identity, and such. So from this perspective, Japan constructed a narrative that emphasized Pan-Asianism, Asia for Asians, by creating the co-prosperity sphere. This narrative framed Japan's action not as imperialist aggression, but as a righteous mission to liberate Asian people from Western dominance. But you could argue that this is only a justification of what Japan did, but at the same time, Japan tried to justify whatever the term you can use, but Japan tried to explain what Japan did from this perspective. As you might already notice, this expression is very much state-centric. But right now, we don't think that we can just apply all these perspectives to the current international relations in Asia. The main difference is many countries in East Asia, they are much more democratized, much more transnational interactions among people in this region. Okay, our second session, I'd like to focus on the consequences of World War II. Japan was forced to change completely after the occupation of Allied powers, mainly the United States. Japan lost the war, no choice. Japan has to change. So it's almost impossible to think about Japanese action during World War II from liberalist perspective. But many of the actions after World War II, many of the actions by the Japanese foreign policy can be explained from liberal perspectives. So from this perspective, Japan rebuilt itself as a peaceful state after the United States led Allied occupation, called GHQ, imposed militarization, democratization, and integrating Japan into a new post-war order through GATT, General Agreement on Tariff and Trade, and IMF, International Monetary Fund, and other liberal economic institutions. Japan completely changed. You may argue about this. One of the interesting questions you may think is that there are not much anti-US sentiment in Japan, even if Japan lost the war with the United States, and also the United States dropped atomic bombs in Japan twice. There are many explanations, maybe already discussed by previous keynotes. It was necessary for the United States to drop atomic bomb in Japan in order to beat Japan. That can be one of the explanations. That might be true. And some argue that it was not necessary for the United States to drop atomic bomb. Or one other say just one is enough, not the second. There are many discussions, but I'm not going to discuss about this. There are many explanations why Japan does not have much anti-US sentiment. One argued that war guilt information program promoted by the United States was successful. So it educated Japan it was a problem with Japan. So Japan has to accept this kind of situation. That's one of the explanations. Or you may focus on the cultural aspect of Japan. You may notice that the Japanese people often say, "Shikataga it cannot be accepted, cannot be helped." We just tend to accept what it is, so not much. Another explanation, most of the Japanese people think that they are the victim of World War II. You may not agree, but this is more like a common understanding of most of the Japanese people. They are also think that they are the victim of Imperial Japan too. Therefore, they are ready to accept the U.S. occupation and try to transform former Japan to the current Japan based on democracy. Another explanation, main explanation, Japan think that U.S. is superior, so why not to accept what the United States demand Japan to do? But I'm not sure which answer is exactly 100%. Oh, it's only. Okay. Let's see. Neorealism explanation. After World War II, Japan strategically relied on the United States security umbrella called extended nuclear deterrence while focusing on economic development. So instead of becoming a military power, Japan projected soft power and economic influence on the post-war international war structure and order. So sometimes often called the Yoshida Doctrine, depending on the United States for security, but focusing on economic development. So mobilize most of the resources for economic development. That is often called Japanese strategy after World War II. The last one, from imperialist perspective, Japan was constitutionally restricted from engaging in military aggression. However, within the Cold War geopolitical framework, Japan became an economic power. Japan played the role of economic sub-hegemon, contributing to the maintenance of the United States-centered global capitalist and military orders. So some critics just focusing on what Japan is doing, for example, providing ODA to dominate other countries, not militarily, but through economic means. But thinking about the current situation, now GDP per capita of Taiwan and Korea, often discussed, is higher than that of Japan. And Japan is now the fourth largest economy in the world. So economic situation is not that really great compared to 1980s or 1990s at least. So this kind of explanation may not be really persuasive at this moment. So I'd like to just mention the implication of Japan. Probably time is up, so I'd like to just say a conclusion. So Japanese foreign policy after World War II and up until now will continue to evolve as a hybrid of realism and liberalism in response to an increasing unstable global and regional strategic environment. What Japan is doing and is going to do is deepen ties with the so-called like-minded countries, which means the countries which share the same value along with the U.S.-Japan Security Alliance. Thank you very much. I stop here.
Thank you very much, Professor Satchel. The second presenter, Professor Gobi, is another old friend. She is Associate Professor, Central Police University. Her topic is Empires and World War II.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Andrea from Central Police University. But this lecture, these slides, I'm going to explain in Chinese because I know we have many guests. Although we have many guests from the world, but most of the audiences are Taiwanese. So let me please allow me to explain in Chinese. 副总统、还有会长、社长、理事长们、老师们，在场的嘉宾们，大家好。我是来自中央警察大学的高佩珊，非常荣幸可以再次这个应 我们东亚和平论坛的邀请，应这个副总统的邀请来这里谈一个帝国与2次大战的关系。副总统是我们这个女性学者，我们在学界非常敬佩的这个前辈，所以我们常常在很多的时候，在很忙碌的时候，都会想说，这个副总统一辈子在追求和平的这一条道路上面付出了许多，这个是一般人很难想象的。那更何况我们在这种微不足道的日常工作当中，就算有遇到再大的困难，都可以这样子继续走下去，因为我们一直在向副总统学习。所以我非常荣幸可以在第1届、第3届跟这一次第5届受邀来发表。那其实这一个演讲在翁老师他在6月份我们在进行博士论文口试的时候，他就邀请我，然后给我这个题目，所以我也因此在2周前飞到了广岛，去参加了这一个原爆的遗址广场，还有和平纪念馆，然后在当地进行一些参访。那本来这个题目我想谈的是一个霸权的一个概念，就是说我们从帝国转向霸权，尤其是现在是川普2.0的时代，我觉得霸权这个这个题目非常的具有意义。但因为要切合我们的这个第一场是2次世界大战对日后全球局势的影响，所以我就把我的题目稍做了修改，我把它改成帝国与第2次世界大战，然后它的副标题是帝国主义、全球冲突跟战后新秩序。那我也做了一些投影片哦。其实我本来想的是说，本来想说，如果我们光谈2次世界大战发生的原因跟结果，这样感觉我很像会成为国中的历史老师，所以我就想说，那我们应该是从这个国际关系的角度来谈哦，所以我就把它谈一个这个从历史政治学的角度去看和平为什么非常的重要。然后我们先去看这个前情提要啊。其实我的第1页摘要这边有先告诉大家说，如果我们去看2次大战发生的前因后果，你就可以发现说，其实它有2个关键字：战争跟帝国主义。那当时其实这一个摘要是给大家一个背景，当时发生的最主要的原因哦，刚刚这个日本来的学者也有谈到，轴心国德国、日本、意大利，其实当时都有他们怀抱这样子的一个帝国梦想，最终导致战争的发生，然后帝国梦想的整个的破碎。那战争的结果其实有非常多的结果，等一下我的简报当中也会报告。最主要的就是传统的殖民帝国，像英国、大英帝国、法国，还有各地的殖民地的这个兴起，然后帝国瓦解了。所以到1945到1975年间，我们就可以发现到说，全球各地的殖民地纷纷独立，然后确立了这个少分体主权的一个国家的体系。那另外一个最重要的结果就是到现在，从战后到现在，美国跟苏联在91年解体之前的美苏取代了过去的欧洲的殖民的强权，建立以 ideology 就是意识形态。我们讲说所谓冷战的和平就是互相保证毁灭，美国有核弹，苏联也有核弹，所以才有了冷战的和平。那但是从苏联瓦解之后，我们就会发现到说，现在全世界只剩下一个霸权，那这个霸权它又一直在转变。所以前一阵子我们在学界一场研讨会当中，就有学者在辩论说，到底如果一个国家是霸权，那有没有分善霸跟恶霸？有人持不同的这种意见哦，所以我觉得这个都值得我们去思考。但是我们如果从这一个历史政治学的角度去看，我们会发现到说，传统的帝国的体制它虽然瓦解了，可是权力的结构转变成新形态的，譬如说像军事、经济、制度跟文化这种多面向的一个霸权。所以在这一个前情提要当中，就是我们去回顾2次大战为什么会发生。如果大家还记得说，我们在国中读的19世纪末这一个帝国主义的兴起，因为当时的工业革命，那像现在已经工业4.0，甚至到欧盟提出工业5.0人机协作的一个概念。所以你看工业1.0这个瓦特改良了蒸汽机，然后到2.0这个德国的一个这个无线电，或者说像我们讲说跨太平洋、跨大西洋的一个通讯的一个往来，再到工业3.0电脑世界，然后4.0网络世界，再到现在，其实每一次的工业革命最重要争夺就是资源跟市场。刚刚教授有谈到，当时日本也是因为资源的稀少，所以这个促进了日本有这个发动战争的一个心态。 那在当时的殖民地的一个争夺当中，除了资源，还有市场。市场的抢夺就是必须要划分势力范围，所以欧洲列强他们就在这个各地，欧洲、亚洲、非洲形成了这种不同的势力范围。然后在1次大战之后的这个凡尔赛条约当中，其实凡尔赛条约是一个非常重要的一个条约，因为在这个条约当中，其实当时的战胜国这个协约国对战败国，特别是德国，对德国提出你要献军，然后你要割地赔款，承担发动战争的所有的责任。所以在学界有很多学者认为说，当时在1次大战之后签的这个凡尔赛条约是逼迫之后德国发动战争的一个原因，因为它的条件是非常严苛的。那再到法西斯主义的崛起，德意日的当时的一个民族主义的盛起，跟军国主义的发展，我们会发现说，慢慢的开始在累积这个发动战争的一个原因。所以在当时的主角当中，这边我就大家看一下就好。重点就是在德国，德国当时纳粹德国希特勒追求的是生存空间，他们要有一个 survival 的一个 space， 它扩展这个空间。那对日本来讲，大东亚共荣圈，这个是他们的一个愿景，一个 vision。那对意大利来讲，当时的法西斯政权是想要重建罗马帝国的荣光。所以从这边你就可以发现到说，3个轴心国同样都有一个帝国的一个梦想。再来我们看下一页，另一边的同盟国这一边的主角，大英帝国、法国、美国，再到苏联。来下一页。所以当时的战场在欧洲、太平洋、亚洲、非洲这一些地方当中，当然欧洲是主要战场。我可以推荐大家看一部电影叫《海上钢琴师》，那一部电影谈的就是波兰在2次大战当中。其实我去波兰讲学多次，波兰在波兰语当中 ，Poland 这个字就是平原，它没有任何的一个屏障，所以它其实很容易遭受攻击。你如果从欧洲地图上看，你会发现说，波兰的右边是苏联，左边是德国，所以波兰在2次大战当中几乎遭受非常严重的摧毁。如果我们在场与会嘉宾将来有机会到华沙的话，你可以到华沙的古城区，因为欧洲很有趣，欧洲每个城市它都有 New Town 新城跟旧城。那华沙的这个古城区呢，其实你会以为它是像过去15、16世纪童话世界那么的漂亮，其实它全部都是重建过。那我的华沙的朋友告诉我说，当时华沙他们看着以前的照片，然后一砖一瓦的去重建，所以你现在看到的 building 它其实是重新 rebuild 重建过的，只是它跟以前很像。那因为它曾经遭受摧毁哦，所以其实对波兰人而言，他们对这个战争的一个阴影是非常的深的。好，来下一页，再到下一页，我们再来直接跳过去哦。所以刚刚我们谈的这些帝国梦导致了战争的一个发生，再来下一页。那后续的结果，第一个就是我刚刚谈的传统殖民帝国的一个衰落，曾经辉煌的帝国，它就在30年间，过去500年的这些 colonization 殖民全部都瓦解，就只30年时间哦。所以这是一个国际政治当中非常大的一个巨变。再来我们看结果二，殖民地因为他们参与了战争，所以他们开始有这种民族的觉醒、民族自觉。然后他们又看到说，帝国好像也是很 fragile， 非常的脆弱，不堪一击，所以他们也想要说，走向一个民族自觉，所以就开始有这个非殖民化的浪潮，就好像这个 Samuel亨廷顿说的第3波民主化浪潮。那台湾其实也就是在第3波民主化浪潮当中。再来我们看结果3，就是美苏意识形态新的帝国的崛起。其实我们从国际政治当中来看，你会发现说，其实霸权。所谓的霸权 hegemony 跟 imperialism 帝国主义，其实它就是同一个概念，但是它展现的方式是不同的。譬如说，在美国当时在战后用马歇尔计划，然后援助了欧洲，重建了亚洲，然后建立了北约，推动布雷顿森林体系，确立美元。到今天，川普可以在全球这样说一不二，其实就是因为美元霸权的地位。那我们看到说，不管说是人民币在推动国际化，或者很多国家进行本币互换制度，短期内其实你要推动美元霸权地位相当的困难哦。那在当时的苏联瓦解1991年之前，相对于北约，苏联这边是 Warsaw Pact 华沙条约组织，那现在已经没有了。那当时这个美苏之间，我们就发现说，2大超级强国取代了传统的殖民帝国，可是它控制的方式不同。 它从直接的统治变成用意识形态、军事、经济，它就可以支配其他的国家哦，建立一种新的非正式帝国的结构。那这个是一个帝国主义，我觉得它是冷战之后新的一个形态，霸权的竞争。来，我们再看下一页。所以我的结语就是说，其实在整个从1945年你去追溯联合国成立，再到亚洲的这个亚非的万隆会议1955年，再到这个非洲国家独立，然后到1975欧洲传统殖民地的一个终结，这一些亚非拉超过70个殖民地获得独立，形成我们现在国际关系所谈的一个基本的架构。我常常都跟学生说，国际关系其实非常有趣，国际关系就跟人际关系一样，你会有你的朋友，你也会有你的敌人，但那种关系不会是永远的，它是透过权衡利弊、利益去驱使你跟他成为朋友，或者是成为敌人。所以直接的统治终结，其实并不意味着国际关系的这一个权力关系的转变，只是它变成一个更复杂的一个霸权的结构。我们再看下一页。那从帝国到霸权这些概念的转变，意大利的这个思想家葛兰西后来英国有所谓的葛兰西学派，也是受他的启发。葛兰西认为说，其实真正有效的统治不仅是依靠强制力，还需要透过文化教育。其实这个跟这个 Joseph Nye 提出的软权力其实就很像哦。Nye 在这个过去他提出硬权力、国防、外交、军事，然后软实力就是你的文化跟你的经济的这个再结合成巧实力。副总统也曾经提过。那二战之后，美苏超级大国，你就会发现说，这种霸权的模式建立了自己的一个体系。那形式上其实还是有所谓中心跟边缘的一个结构。再来下一页。所以霸权的多面向的形式，大家往后可以陆续去观察。你如果我们也不讲说现在谁是超级霸权或者唯一的 super power， 你就去看他们使用的方式，其实不同面向：军事、文化、经济、制度。那当然，在川普的时候，在这个所谓的制度霸权稍微弱了一点，因为川普都退群了嘛。但是大致上来讲，霸权一个国家之所以为霸权，它可以透过军事方式、经济方式、制度跟文化。所以后殖民理论的学者在学界当中，他们就认为说，其实霸权不只是物质的控制，所以我们谈有一种叫物质霸权，一种叫机制霸权。机制霸权就是说像 WTO 一样，或者像联合国一样，在国际上它有一个机制，然后要求你要遵守。所以这种知识殖民统治其实比这个直接统治更加有效，难以抵抗。来，再来下一页。所以我觉得最重要的历史意义，为什么副总统会成立这个重要的东亚和平论坛？因为和平是大家最大的一个希望。那在目前来看，我们可以看到说，川普回来了，川普 1.0 跟 2.0 基本上他的改变没有太大的改变，还是一样他的这个交易型的性格，然后商人的性格。但是这一次我觉得不同的是，各个国家已经有所准备，因为你历经了 1.0 再到 2.0， 所以你可以去发现各国在跟美国谈判的时候，现在就大概知道说要怎么样跟美国谈了。因为西方霸权现在在一个多极化的世界挑战当中，大家就会知道说我该跟谁合作，然后我该跟谁结盟，来共同面对现今的一个挑战。所以在国际关系学界，我们现在常常在辩论，就是说大家都知道说我们要建立以规则为基础的国际秩序，问题是什么样的规则谁说了算？是川普说了算，美国说了算，还是欧洲说了算？再来什么样的规则？所以这是在学界非常有趣的一个辩论。再来，在最后一页。所以在目前国际关系当中，我们看到有很多的紧张、区域冲突的局面当中，就可以去追溯，其实它是从战后到现在，这个题目根本没有答完，没有做完。所以面对全球化时代的挑战，我觉得我们大家都可以去反思一下，什么叫做霸权，什么叫做帝国。虽然每一个国家的意图 intention 是没有办法得知的，我们在国际关系当中，新现实主义大师 John Mayer Sharman 他说，国家的意图 intention 无法得知，可是我们可以从过去的历史 history 过去的历史可以告诉你，然后你就可以去推估预判未来的可能的 scenario 未来的情境哦。所以建构更加公平、更加包容的国际秩序，我觉得是我们现在每一个人都非常需要关注的一个议题。那我的报告先到这边，非常感谢大家的聆听。
Thanks, Professor Gao Pei. The next presenter is Professor Chang Yong-hee He's from South Korea, Institute for Peace and Security Studies, Chunnan National University. His topics, the legacy of the Pacific War in World War II and the Middle Powers solidarity in East Asia. Please, Professor Chen.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be here today, and I appreciate the organizing committee, especially for呂秀蓮副总统 and all the preparing staff, and for bringing together such distinguished scholars and audience. My subject is the legacy of the Pacific War and connected crises and democratic peace building through solidarity-based deterrence. I focus on the argument that war originated from great powers' internal problems. In my case, in my home, conflict occurs when my wife is experiencing inwardly insecurity or fear, and if I cannot catch or recognize her fear and insecurity, and then I cannot avoid the conflict or war between me and my wife. Yes. So one of the main causes of World War II was Germany's severe internal economic and political crisis. The economic collapse caused by the Treaty of Versailles after World War I defeat and the shock of the Great Depression. Timothy Mason articulated the social imperialism theory. According to this, the late 1930s internal political crisis caused by Germany's economic overheating and continuous wage demands of the working class pushed Hitler to choose flight into war. In other words, internal crises were attempted to be resolved by external expansion. Yeah. Sorry. Yes. So Japan also experienced internal contradictions during the rapid modernization process after the Meiji Restoration, which led to external expansion. The militaristic policy of Japan was not merely territorial expansion, but an attempt to resolve internal problems such as population growth and resource shortages. The U.S. oil embargo against Japan in 1941 was a decisive trigger. Since Japan depended on the U.S. for 80% of its oil supply, this forced Japan to make the extreme choice of attacking Pearl Harbor. The present situation, the ongoing U.S.-China trade war and strategic competition show similar patterns.
to World War II. The U.S. tries to solve internal problems such as industrialization, worsening income inequality, and political polarization by targeting China. The Trump administration's tariff policy against China and allies and partner countries and extensive pressures are attempts to achieve internal goals, including restoring manufacturing jobs and securing political support. China also faces internal challenges such as slowing economic growth, real estate bubble, and increasing youth unemployment and deepening social inequality. The Xi Jinping government is trying to overcome these internal crises through nationalist reunification and a hardline stance against U.S.-China's retaliatory tariffs and threats to cut off critical mineral supplies reflect political calculations aimed at internal cohesion. Second one is related with external projection of internal problems. Both countries face internal political pressure and find it difficult to back down. The U.S. pressured China by saying Xi Jinping should call first these days, while China, hardened by Trump's first term, remains adamant. Just as World War II originated in attempts by great powers to solve internal political and economic crises, the current U.S.-China conflict stems from structural problems, where internal contradictions are addressed by attacking the opponent, especially based on the primacy of domestic politics logic. Leaders are likely to choose hardline foreign policies for domestic survival, increasing the risk of military conflict. The lesson of history is that attempts to solve domestic problems through external conflict ultimately bring greater catastrophe. I'm stressing the term the connected crisis. From the concept of connected crisis, the chain reaction from the Manchurian incident in 1931 to Sino-Japanese War in 1937 and to Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact in 1939 and to Pearl Harbor attack in 1941 is paralleled today by the connected tensions among the Ukraine war, the Taiwan Strait crisis, and Korean Peninsula tensions. In such situations, solidarity-based deterrence by Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and the Philippines becomes the last bulwark for peace. Three conditions of deterrence. We have three conditions for effective collective deterrence. The first one is realistic. The threat must be credible. The deterrence must be credible and believable to the adversary. And second one is there must be assurance that multiple countries will respond if one is attacked. And third one is the willingness to take risk even during peacetime must be demonstrated. To prevent China from starting a war, the will and commitment of the U.S. are absolutely essential. However, the U.S. is currently trapped in protectionism and self-centered thinking. So while U.S. support was critical, yet indirect, during the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the most important thing is prevention of war, the deterrence, and showing the will and capability to the soul. We can see the map. Connected crises need connected deterrence. So the four countries, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, and Philippines, are geopolitically crucial points on the first island chain. In the context of the U.S. facing a credibility crisis under the Trump administration, the autonomous cooperation of these four countries has become even more important. Conclusion. Henry Kissinger warned that it may be dangerous to be America's enemy, but to be America's friend is fatal. This illustrates the risks of diplomacy that relies solely on the U.S. This warning was given in the context of the risk the U.S. would abandon its allies. But Trump's contradictory policies in 2025 have made this warning a reality. This statistics is according to Economist Intelligence Unit, and this shows us that if Taiwan in the Taiwan Strait occurs war, and then who will be affected by this conflict? So this is distinguished into economically and militarily, and overall, the first one is Philippines, and second is Japan, and third one is South Korea, and Vietnam, Australia. They will affected, very catastrophically affected by the war on the Taiwan Strait. So just as the chain reaction in the 1930s led to a world war, current connected crisis risk escalating into conflict. But this time is different. The collective deterrence through the solidarity of regional countries such as Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and the Philippines serves as a shield to stop the domino effect. With the U.S. and China it's mired in domestic political dynamics, the rational and constructive role of middle powers has become increasingly important. our goal is clear, to prevent war. Yes, to achieve this, we need military deterrence and economic deterrence and value-based deterrence and diplomatic deterrence. My conclusion is connected crises require connected responses, and peace must be maintained through collective deterrence. This is our historic mission on the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. Thank you.
Thanks, Professor Chen. The next presenter is Ambassador Rex Wang, former ambassador to Switzerland. His topic is peace and war in Far Eastern Asia after World War II. Please, Ambassador.
Thank you again. Now it's my turn. I try to describe and explain what's going on right after the Second World War until today. I wrote a not very long article here, so please, if you have time, you can have a look. And I try to, right now, sitting here and try to explain or what I think, because for the past 80 years, I don't think right after the Second World War, the world has changed a lot. The reason is, for example, right after the Second World War in 1953, right after the Korean War, Korea becomes two Koreas, North and South, and not fighting, quarreling all the times. And Taiwan, again, the legal status of Taiwan, until today has not yet really decided whether he's a country or not. Although I think it's a country, it's a state, because in 1996, we have our general election. We elected our president, we elected our legislature, later congressmen. We think we are, but Americans still use the same excuse, saying that after the Second World War, Taiwan, because of all the reasons, Taiwan status is not yet decided. So, he used Taiwan, utilized Taiwan. I don't blame him. Try to utilize again in 1971. For example, as you mentioned, the Nixon tried to utilize China to divide the Soviet Union and the Red China. Again, when he sees that China will really become the true leader and will make a lot of trouble in the future, so he tries, especially after this president, I suddenly forgot his name, who makes the American MAGA, the Trump. Before that, the American or the presidents, from the Carter, Clinton, and Obama, they all think right after Taiwan was driven out by the UN, because he utilized the word in something. Okay, that's another story. He tried to please China and believe that China, if it becomes rich, and if we have a lot of middle class people, then the China will become friendlier and become a part of or join the Western democratic or liberal society. But how wrong it is, we know, since we are living in Taiwan, we know the Chinese know they are not in Taiwan. After 1996, we have become greatly. Thanks God and thanks to our people and thanks our past president, Li Tenghui. Now we become Democrats. We really, I think we think the same as the Westerners. But Chinese, no, up to now, after the fall in 1911, the fall of the Manchuria, then came the Republic of China. The Republic of China only ruled the 43 years in the mainland continent, the Chinese continent, and then it was driven out by the more brutal, more, how to say it, like a Chinese bandit in the historical, terms, and to Taiwan. And he didn't own the Taiwan, he didn't receive the Taiwan's, the power to rule Taiwan as the ruler of Taiwan. No. And we lived in 38 years in the martial law. I just watched my friend, my classmate disappear. Oh, so sorry. I'm, like Japanese say, the same thing called. I was born before the Second World War. So I watched the World War, the American plane, airplane to bomb Taiwan. Yes. At that time I was age 7. I took my little sister to watch with the with a hat, some special hat, to watch. And after that, we under the 38 years of the martial law. And that, thanks to the KMT, still the KMT, they finally appointed Li Tenghui, Dr. Li, as a president, and he realized and worked closely with the KMT. He's also okay. So we started to democratize them. So I know that in the Chinese traditional culture, no such way. There is an imperialism. If they are strong enough, I can cite you every cases. If you're strong enough, if you see Assamese subordinate or the other king, his wife is beautiful, he will try to invent it. Always in the name of unification. Try to unify this whole continent, the state in the whole continent. That's it. Secondly, they, in the 5,000 years of history, they never developed science. They never developed a real logic. We call it the logic. They utilize we call it Laozi-ism. That means if you are good, you must be a little bad. Little bit bad. That is, how to say, dialectism. This is not logic. And they treat the people as, right now in Chinese say 小草. That's for support the the emperor, support the system, imperial system, support the ruler's system. Actually, we are minor caste system in history, to me, just like in India. So in this kind of a history, culture, how could they create something really friendly, really based on trust, kindness? No way. Chinese all listen to Sun Tzu Bing Fa. Do you know Sun Tzu Bing Fa? That is one, you have to always be aware you are the person next. You look at you with interest and maybe this kind of thing. Sun Tzu Bing Fa, do you know that? Huh? They utilize. Then after that, after KMT was driven out, escaped to Taiwan, then the Chinese, that's even worse. I accuse him, in my book, I accuse him, this is the traditionally bandit. They can kill anyone. They don't talk the real words. They just want their money and their enjoyment, and they do not trust anyone, even among themselves. With this kind of a traditional banditism, plus the modern communism, now the result, you can imagine what kind of result. That's why in 1914, if you read this one, remember that in that year, some pro-China reporter, journalists in New York organized a seminar to talk. Did we really too naive to believe that China, once we bring them into the WTO, gradually they will become a people like us to start the democratic system? No. Their conclusion, no. They will become really, friendly to any countries? No. And the other one, I have a 5. I hope I can do that. And we in Taiwan, we say that, of course, you're so stupid. So stupid, you're so naive. So naive, you are so nice. Now, America, you are so nice. To us, you're stupid. Because you believe that kind of a people, that kind of a leader, can become good one. And really try, they will take the people one by one as the people they have to cherish. And they are the owner, and they are the boss of this country. And they are only the public servant. No such kind of a democratic thinking that exists in China. Look at, I just, that's 5, oh, maybe too excited, I just forget this, 3, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, the 5. The name of the seminar is, has American media misjudged China? A question mark. The first, they say, they believe first, Deng Xiaoping won't get crazy and crash the student movement or the people's movement at Tiananmen. Wrong. Secondly, the Chinese, after they become rich, they will become rich, then the Western democratic system will be emerged in China. Wrong. Third, the middle class in China, after they become, normally we say that 35%, after 35%, then the civil society will gradually establish. No such kind of thing exists. Four, China in future, we presume to become in the international world society will become a stakeholder to take their responsibility as a big country and a rich country, a big country. Don't forget, in 1917, it becomes the economic spin, it becomes the number 2, only a little bit slow. Next, the United States. Do they become a stakeholder? No, they are trouble, the real troublemaker. They even. Well, I still have 5 minutes, please. And then the fifth one, to obey the Hong Kong sign with Hong Kong and even with guarantee with the UN, that will honor the 50 years. They will not change Hong Kong status. Did you remember that? At that time, the Hong Kong people still think China is not bad. One of my friend, I think some of you know him, Gordon Zhang, accountant. He wrote a book in 2005 saying that China will collapse. I just laughed. I said, no, not so soon. But he will definitely collapse into a small pieces. The 7 countries, 7 states. Before 2031, I wrote a book on that. I received six American and 2. One from Belgium and from France came to discuss with me. I published in 2018. But in Taiwan, nobody, because the situation. Right now, we have too many his China regime legislator in our country. So the reason why I say this is because my predecessors have already explained it, what's going on after the Second World War in Asia, exactly up to today, exactly the same. So I did not want to take this problem more deeply. No, I say this one first. Everyone just misjudge China, and China will never change whether he becomes rich or not. Look at when the nation of China come to Taiwan. I'm under 38 years of martial law. And after that, when this China come, and that China also threatened me. Now I'm 87. I was really bullied and really, how to say it, he's taken all my advantage. And in this society, Taiwan, we work very hard. We build up our own democratic societies, but I only back American. This is time to help us. to become an independent country. Let us decide our future. And that to help our democratic system. And I'm so glad to announce that, not announce, the American right now greatly, the upper house and the common house, they all agree. Sooner or later, they have to recognize us to help Taiwan as a state, that Taiwan take its whole responsibility by herself. The reason I try to say this one is, I explained it already, because for the big problem, yes, what, 2 more minutes. Now, when you have the opportunity, you have to utilize it. So sorry, huh? So that's why in my paper I say that we have to, this Asian country, we should stick together. I prefer that we work closely with Japan, with Korea. Korea right now have some trouble, and the Philippines. Work closely with the Philippines, Japan, and Korea. And we ask Japan, come, try, hopefully you will become American with American system. You will become our small leader. We will fight. America is too busy now. We three can get together. And America will be our final leader, because we all belong to the same camp first. Secondly, America, you have to take good care of our security, especially have a nuclear war. So I suggest with the 3 countries plus the American, we organize some training, which I learned from, I was a student at Brussels University. That is how to know each other. Leadership training, fraternal dialogue training, and then some Southwest analysis, solving the economic problems, and East-West, all this one. That the private NGO, sometimes the government will work together. We don't try to, of course we want to talk peacefully with China, with the Soviet. Do they able to follow their words? Even they written it on paper? No. So we have to work together to build up understanding, a friendship among ourselves. Because I learned that from Peace University in Belgium 55 years ago, to attend 3 weeks fraternal dialogue, and I made so many friends all over the world. So that's it. I do not talk about the real one. I propose we have to. Now if we are 4 countries, we can organize that, young people's training program to know each other's difference, and you have a heart to communicate, to work together, and you can appreciate the democracy, the law, justice, freedom, etc. And thank you for this is too long. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Wang. Owing to the limit of time, this session must stop here. And if you would like to discuss with the respective presenter, you can use lunchtime. So let's join us to give big applause for the 4 presenters.
Okay, thank you very much for moderator. And end of this session, we have a good picture for this section. Oh, please. And we announced we are going to lunchtime, so easy. All the panelists and scholars and the moderator, please just follow the guidance to the other side. And all the participants, you have your name badge, and beside the name badge, you have the coupon or lunch beer coupon. You can go outside and bring your lunch box to enjoy your lunch. So we just stop here. Thank you very much for this panel. Thank you. 你不站起来照。OK，Thank you. OK， 好，那现在就请各位到外面拿便当，用你的餐券换便当来吃。所有的学者专家跟主持人到另外一边同学指示的地方去吃饭。好，请。那么下一场时间是1点钟请大家把握时间来参加这个研讨会，谢谢。